Hey everyone, this is Dr. David Song from the Rehab Hero Clinic. Today we'll be talking about piriformis syndrome and how this could be one of the causes of your sciatica. So let's dig deep. So the first thing that needs to be said is that sciatica is not a diagnosis, it is actually a symptom. So when you say you have sciatica, it's no different than saying that you have like elbow pain or you have like shoulder pain. Sciatica is a symptom, not a diagnosis. And what this means is that when you say you have sciatica, it doesn't really say where the origin of your sciatica is actually coming from. There are many different causes to sciatica, including lumbar radiculopathy or disc herniation, piriformis syndrome, and there are other conditions that actually mimic sciatica, also known as pseudosciatica. And these can be referral pain patterns from the SI joint itself, the iliolumbar ligament, and other ligaments surrounding the SI joint. For the purposes of today's video though, we're going to zone in on one of the causes of sciatica known as piriformis syndrome. The first thing you should know about piriformis syndrome is that it tends to be overdiagnosed. The most common cause of sciatica is lumbar radiculopathy or lumbar disc herniation, so you would want to consult your healthcare provider to make sure that you rule in and out all these other differential diagnoses. Now, how can piriformis syndrome actually cause sciatica? The piriformis is a muscle that attaches from the sacrum and to your thigh bone called the greater trochanter. As this muscle actually crosses over from the tailbone to the greater trochanter, the sciatic nerve runs underneath it. In some people, the sciatic nerve actually runs through the piriformis syndrome, and in some others, it runs over top of it. That said, the sciatic nerve, in most people, runs underneath the piriformis. Now, when the piriformis muscle is really tight, it can compress that sciatic nerve, leading to sciatica. Sciatica is a symptom of leg pain stemming from the butt, and it could go all the way down to the heel. The pain is often described as a burning sensation or electrical type of pain. And with regards to piriformis syndrome, it can feel worse whenever you do movements of the hip. Now, some people don't really realize that the piriformis function actually changes depending on your hip flexion angle. When the thigh is flexed above 90 degrees, it's actually an internal rotator. However, at all the other ranges, it's actually an external rotator. So the function flips depending on the orientation of your hip. This is because of the anatomical location of the muscle belly. In hip flexion, it actually serves more of an abduction role, whereas in hip extension, it's a primary hip external rotator. If your piriformis is tight and is causing compression of your sciatic nerve, what can you really do about it? Well, one thing you can do is actually stretch out the piriformis muscle. Stretching out the piriformis muscle can lead to short-term relief of the sciatic nerve. It'll also be really important to actually do some sciatic nerve flossing exercises as well, so that the nerve can actually be more mobile underneath that piriformis or through that piriformis muscle. Lastly, we actually want to strengthen the piriformis muscle. Some people think that strengthening a muscle will actually cause it to tighten, but actually research shows the opposite. When you strengthen a muscle, its ability to stretch actually increases. Last thing you want to remember is that you want to remove any type of aggravating activity to actually give you some time to recover. You can modify your workouts, your exercises, and your other activities of daily living so that it doesn't actually intensify the pain that you're experiencing. It's not that it's going to re-injure the structures, you're just going to resensitize the pain, and this may delay your recovery process. Alright, first we're going to learn how to stretch out the piriformis muscle. As mentioned previously, the piriformis is actually responsible for internal hip rotation when your hip is actually flexed. So in order to stretch it out while we're in a hip flexion position, we're going to actually go into external rotation. For the piriformis, we're going to do a really easy figure 4 stretch. To start, you're going to just lie down on your back. From here, you're just going to put one foot flat on the floor. The other foot is going to be placed onto the knee. You're actually going to be targeting the piriformis of the leg that is rotated. From here, you're just going to take your hands, you're going to feed it through the gap between the legs and hold onto the back of your thigh. You're going to gently pull that thigh towards your chest, and you can use your elbow to push your thigh into external rotation. You should feel a stretch in your buttock. If this movement actually causes reproduction of your symptoms, that it reproduces the sciatica sensations that you've been getting, you actually don't want to push yourself into that pain. All you gotta do is back off a little bit and feel a nice light stretch. From here, you can hold this for up to 30 seconds, and then you want to rest for about an equal amount of time before repeating this stretch. If you want, you can even stretch out the other side while you're waiting. Next, we'll be moving on to the sciatic nerve flossing exercise. There are a lot of different positions that you could do this exercise in, but for the sake of this video, we'll be starting from the seated position as I find that to be the easiest. It is really important to remember that while you do the sciatic nerve flossing exercise, you shouldn't feel any nerve tension or any reproduction of your sciatica symptoms. Essentially, you won't really feel anything going on when you're doing this exercise. If you do feel reproduction of your symptoms or your pain, just shorten the range and don't do the whole entire exercise. It is also really important that you move your head and leg at the same tempo. This is because we want the sciatic nerve to floss underneath that piriformis muscle instead of it tensioning and being pulled apart. We don't want to tension that nerve right now. It's too sensitive and it's just going to hurt. So this is what it looks like. You're going to be extending the knee and the neck at the same time, nice and slow. You're going to look up. And you can point your foot upwards as well if you can tolerate it. From here, you're going to go to the other extreme where you're going to flex the knee now and flex the neck. From there, you're just going to repeat. You don't have to hold these end ranges for any period of time. The goal is just to move in and out of this exercise. As I mentioned, if you do feel symptoms of shortening the range, so for example, if I feel a lot of tension at the end range extended position, just shorten it so maybe I'm at 50%, and then you can come back down. Generally speaking, you want to be doing 20 repetitions in the morning and about 20 repetitions at night. You do this daily to loosen up that sciatic nerve. All right, next we're going to go into strengthening the piriformis muscle. All right, since the piriformis serves as a hip abductor while in hip flexion, we're actually going to do the fire hydrant exercise to start strengthening up the piriformis muscle. To start, you're going to go on your hands and knees. For this exercise, it's really important that you keep the lumbar spine neutral. You could brace the core in order to maintain that natural lordotic curve. It's also going to be really important that you're going to isolate the movement to your hip, which means that you don't want to be rotating through the pelvis or the lumbar spine during this exercise. So all you're going to do is while you're in that hip flexion position, you're going to raise that thigh up to the side as far as you can, and you're going to hold that for about 5 to 7 seconds, and then you're going to lower that leg down. What we don't want to see is when you raise it, rotating through the pelvis or through the lumbar spine. You want to really make sure that your pelvis doesn't rotate or tilt during this exercise. Just to show you the movement again, you're going to raise the leg up to the side and hold that for 5 to 7 seconds. And then back down. When it comes to strengthening the piriformis muscle up, anywhere between 8 to 12 repetitions is great, and doing 3 sets is also phenomenal. You can do these exercises every day, but if you find that you're resensitizing your pain every time you do these exercises, back off. This means you could do less reps, less sets, or you could just do a shorter range of motion so that it doesn't resensitize the symptoms that you're experiencing. Generally, I like to do up to 3 strengthening exercises for the piriformis, and I would do that strengthening program about 3 times a week. For more exercises on how to strengthen the piriformis, you could go to our website, and you can access our free exercise database with over 800 exercises. All right, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, give this video a like, and please subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and we'll answer you as soon as possible. You can also contact us through Instagram or TikTok. Between those 2 platforms, we have over 500,000 followers. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.